Well, here we are. We are in the last of eight, known as the quarterfinal. And instead of me just going to preview two games at a time like I've been doing with games that is in the knockout stage, and that each day I do like a preview after each game has finished. Instead, I'm going to be previewing all four games in the quarterfinal, and I'll do the same thing in the semifinal, and then in the final, it will be just one whole game that I will be previewing. But there's going to be four games that is going to be happening in the quarterfinal. The top part of the board will be the games that happen tomorrow, and the games that is in the bottom of the board is going to happen on Saturday. So we're going to start off with the games that's going to happen tomorrow, and we're going to start with France versus Uruguay. And some facts about this game: France are unbeaten against the last 9 South Americans team, and that, of course, including beating Argentina in the round of 16, while Uruguay are unbeaten in 7 of the 8 matchup against France. So certainly something has to give in terms of that, but it also is the fact that, when you look at this match, it looks like it is offense versus defense. Or in other words, it's attack versus defense. Because France certainly has a very good attack, but they're going to be facing against an Uruguay team that have conceded only one goal so far in the whole tournament. And that is the least out of any team in the round of 8 right now. And I just wonder how in the world is this French team gonna break down this Uruguay defense. I mean, in the last game in the round of 16 against Argentina, they certainly broke down that Argentine defense very well. Certainly Mbappe was one of the reasons why France attack was so good. But we all know that Argentina defense is nowhere near the level of Uruguay is. I mean, with that Uruguay defense that is led by Diego Godin, that defense is going to be very, very tough for France to break down it, and they certainly will find out in that game. But one thing that I am concerned about Uruguay is that who exactly is going to get the goals besides Luis Suarez, because Edison Cavani will not be playing in this game because of the injury that he's suffered in the last game. And as much as every Uruguay fans was fearing that Cavani was going to miss the game, unfortunately, it is going to be the case. He will be missing this game against France. While France, they do have a player that will be missing in this game too. Matuidi will be missing in this game in the midfield for France because of yellow card accumulation. And certainly that, I think, that could be a big blow to France midfield too, because now Paul Pogba will need to try to do everything on the defensive end and also in the attacking end. And we've seen how that has worked out when he was at Manchester United, when he kind of had that similar duty, except he wasn't allowed to do on the attacking end, and that he was mostly on the defensive end. And I think that's what France is going to ask him to do in this game, because Matuidi is not in this one. But yeah, it's going to be definitely a very good game, and I have a feeling that this could either be a very low scoring game, or this could be a very high scoring game where France will just blow Uruguay out of the water. But I'm betting this could be a low scoring game. I'm betting that this game could determine and go down to penalties, and we'll see how this one will go. This is one of the game that a lot of people will pay attention to. The other game that a lot of people will pay attention to is the Brazil versus Belgium game. So Brazil, of course, this is the 5th meeting between both of these teams, between Brazil and Belgium. And Belgium have lost their last 3 or 4 matches against South American team. But Brazil has been knocked out by the last 3 European team in the World Cup, and that of course includes Germany in 2014, and I forgot who they got knocked down in 20. I think it was, oh god, I forgot who. I think it was Spain that they got knocked out from. But yeah, in the last 3 World Cup, they have been knocked out by a European team. And, for this match, Belgium definitely need to be much better in this match against Brazil than they shown in that game against Japan. And I think one of the biggest concern for this Belgian team coming into this game is how is this defense going to hold up? Because it's pretty clear in the last game against Japan, that defense, which has been sort of a weak link that Belgium might have throughout this tournament, got fully exposed. And when you look at this Brazilian attack, and when you have Neymar, Gabriel Jesus, Firmino, and all those guys on the attack for Brazil, they are definitely gonna not only fully expose Belgium weak defense, but they're gonna have a field day against them if Belgium cannot sort out their defense, which means that even if they don't figure out their defense, that means that they're gonna have to rely on the attack. And certainly Belgium themselves have good attacking threat too. Certainly Kevin De Bruyne will be pulling the string alongside with Hazard and Lukaku. But the thing is about Belgium is that, with Lukaku, it just feels like in the last game against Japan, he definitely did not look very comfortable. And in the last two games for Belgium, he hasn't scored a goal. And you wonder, has he used up all the goals that he had been scoring so far early in the tournament? And that whenever it seemed like in a big game, when Belgium face a big opponent like Brazil, Lukaku always tends to vanish. And that could be a big concern for Belgium. And you wonder, maybe instead of Lukaku, maybe they'll just put Dries Mertens in there instead. And for Brazil, they obviously will miss Casemiro in this game because of yellow card combination, but they still will have Fernandinho in there as the replacement, and I think that's definitely a good replacement because Fernandinho plays on the same team as De Bruyne is in Man City, and I'm pretty sure he will understand a lot about him and how he will defend against his teammate at Man City. And yeah, overall, this is another one that is gonna be really hard to call, and it could be one that might be a lot of goal score in this game because both attack is very, very decent. And I wouldn't say the Brazilian defense is bad, but that attack of Belgium can definitely break down this Brazilian defense, and the Brazilian defense can definitely break down this Belgium defense that is not very good whatsoever. But moving on into the game on the bottom, so the game that I'm going to be caring about the most and the one that I will be going to a view party. Yes, I'm going to wake up 5 in the morning, go down to San Jose like I did last time, and go down there to watch this game and join the view party, is the Sweden versus England match. And this match really reminds me of when England play against Iceland. So remember how I always say that Sweden is kind of like the Iceland of the World Cup, because this is a team that is very organized. They have all their players on their team know each other and know how to link up with each other, and they are a very good defensive kind of team that can score goals out of nowhere on the counter attack. And remember last time when we faced that kind of team, it was against Iceland and we lost that one. So in this game, I hope England have learned their mistake against Iceland and that we have to somehow in some way break down Sweden, and that we have to score an early goal in this game, because it is very crucial for us to score an early goal so that we can put Sweden on the back foot. Sweden, one thing that I will say about them is that they're not going to attack a lot in this game. They are going to sit back. They're going to make it very hard for us to try to break down. And that might be a big concern that I have with this England team, because knowing what I saw in that game against Colombia, it does not give me a lot of confidence that we can break this Sweden team down with ease, especially with the fact that in the last game, Dele Alli was absolutely non-existent in the last game. Lingard, at time he looked good, and at time he just looked shit. And Sterling just, I don't know why in the world is Raheem Sterling still in this squad. Like, it's been seen time and time again that when he puts on this England shirt and play in this World Cup, he just looked absolutely awful. So why in the world does Southgate not put Rashford in there instead of Sterling? But, for this game, like I said many times, we need to find a way to break the Sweden team down. And if we don't do that, if we cannot break them down, and if we go to another penalty, which I'm hoping we don't, because, the last penalty was already so stressful. I can't really deal with another penalty and how stressful that would feel like. But, like I said, this game, we got to take this seriously, and we have to try to break them down. If we don't, we are going to lose this game. It's simple as that. And also, by the way, England have only won one of their last 7 games against Sweden, so certainly history does not really favor us. And also, this is the first time we've been into the quarterfinals since 2006, and we know what happened in that year when we got eliminated by Portugal in the quarterfinal by penalties. And Sweden and England have drew both of their last 2 World Cup meetings, and that was 2002 and 2006. But finally, we're into the final game of the round of 8. And it is Russia versus Croatia. So this is the 3rd meeting between both of these teams. And Croatia have only been into 1 quarterfinal appearance, but they won that one back in 1998 when they beat France. Or not France, actually, but they beat Germany. That World Cup, of course, was at France. But the last 5 host nation, and this is actually a very interesting fact. The last 5 host nations that have reached this stage actually made it to the semifinal. Brazil made it into the quarterfinal last World Cup, and they made it to the semis, which we know what happened after that. I mean, if you're a Brazilian fan watching this, I'm gonna give you a good news. I'm not gonna mention it and really just rub salt into the wounds of what just happened in that semifinal in the last World Cup, but. Germany reached to the quarterfinal in 2006. They moved on to the semi. And even South Korea made it to the quarterfinal, and they moved on to the semis. And then we also know France made it to the quarterfinals, and they also moved on into the semis. And the last team that made it to the quarterfinal that did not moved on in the semis, well, I am actually wearing that shirt right now. It's the U.S. back in 1994. We actually reached the quarters that year, but we lost, which I actually forgot who we lost, and I should know this because I'm a U.S. fan. But, yeah, in terms of this match, well, it's a mismatch on paper, but we said the same thing in that game against Spain. Like, we said that Russia has no chance against Spain. Like, it's going to be a miracle for them to move on into the quarterfinal. And, well, a lot of people are saying the same thing, that Russia does not have a chance against Croatia, that this squad is definitely not good enough against Croatia, and that game against Spain is just a total fluke. Really? Is it a total fluke, or is it because of how this World Cup has been? Because let me just say this, as much as I think Croatia is a very dark horse team and definitely can get into the final of this tournament, I will say that I will not be surprised, and you can add me at this, I won't be surprised if Russia beat Croatia. I really don't. I think Russia, there's just something about this Russian team that is just a team that we have never seen as a host nation to go that far with that kind of odd stack against them, and that you just think that this kind of incredible Cinderella run that they have just won't end very quickly. And I think for this match, and especially how Croatia played in the last match against Denmark, if Croatia play like that against Russia, then there is no way Croatia would just easily walk through Russia like that. I mean, Russia is going to try to use the same tactics that Denmark used last time, which is trying to defend and maybe hit them on the counterattack, which the Russian does very well. And they're probably just going to take this to penalties, where we already know that they already won one penalty. And keep in mind, Russia have not missed a single penalty in this World Cup. You know, if you look at all the penalties that Russia has been taking, including the penalty kick shootout, they have missed 0 on that. So you better believe if this one does get to penalties, you would think that Russia could be heavy favorites because they have made all their penalty. Although at the same time, the guy that is in goal, Subasic, have already gone into a penalty kick shootout, and he has already saved 3 penalties in that shootout against Denmark. So maybe I shouldn't be too optimistic that Russia can potentially go through. But I'm just saying, Russia, this team, I don't really think that they're done yet. I think this team could shock the world again. And if that happens, I will be the one that say, see, I told you. I said it in the preview that Russia is going to shock the world. And what you know, they shocked the world again. But we're going to find out if that's going to happen on Saturday. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash that subscribe button. Let me know your prediction for all of these games. And yeah, I, of course, will see you guys next time.